At a busy work site, a forklift operator was unloading a heavy load onto a truck. Suddenly, the load shifted, and a nearby worker instinctively tried to steady it by hand, but the material was far too heavy. This incident shows how trying to stop heavy loads by hand can be extremely dangerous. Forklifts and cranes exist for a reason. Human strength cannot replace proper equipment. Workers should always keep a safe distance and never interfere before the load is fully secured. Safety isn't instinct. It's discipline in action. While working on a routine task along a roadside sidewalk, a group of workers continued their job as usual. Everything seemed normal until one of the workers accidentally stepped backward and bumped into a passing pedestrian. The contact pushed the pedestrian dangerously close to a moving truck. Fortunately, the workers reacted quickly and pulled the person back to safety. This incident shows how crucial attention and sight control are when working near active traffic. Protective barriers, warning signs, and designated pedestrian paths should always be in place. Proper marking and awareness ensure the safety of both workers and pedestrians. On a construction site, a worker was being lowered into a trench using an excavator bucket. As the operator began lifting him back up, the bottom of the trench suddenly collapsed. Within seconds, the soil buried the worker, and rescue was impossible. This incident reminds us that trench safety rules must never be ignored. Excavator buckets are not designed for transporting personnel and should never be used for that purpose. Ground conditions should be checked regularly. If signs of loosening, water leakage, or cracking appear, work must stop immediately. A worker was performing maintenance in the engine compartment of a vehicle. As he leaned forward, the engine unexpectedly started, and the vehicle began to roll backward. The worker found himself trapped in a dangerous position between the door and the vehicle body. Before working on the engine or transmission, the battery should be disconnected, the gear set to neutral, and the parking brake applied. Workers should not place themselves between the vehicle and a fixed surface, and must always maintain a safe position. A truck loaded with gas cylinders was reversing toward the factory entrance. Some workers had climbed near the load to help guide it. As the vehicle approached the wall, 2 workers managed to move away in time, but one faced a brief risk of being pinned. This incident reminds us of the dangers of standing on loads or being elevated near moving vehicles. Workers should never stand on loads during transport and must keep a safe distance when vehicles are moving. Gas cylinders and similar materials can shift. Therefore, guiding should only be done by spotters standing safely on the ground. Remember, the safest position is always on the ground, away from the load. A worker was walking past an operating industrial mixer when he bent down to pick up an item from the floor. In that moment, his loose t-shirt caught on the rotating shaft. The fabric wrapped instantly, pulling him toward the machine. This incident is a reminder of how dangerous loose clothing can be around rotating machinery. Clothing, gloves, hair, or any material can get caught and pull a worker in within seconds. Machine guards must be in place. Workers should wear proper fitted garments, and all energy sources should be fully isolated before approaching moving equipment. In a warehouse, several large material stacks were placed side by side. The area seemed stable, but one stack suddenly lost balance and collapsed, triggering a chain reaction that damaged nearby piles and equipment. This incident reminds us of the importance of safe stacking and regular inspections. Loads must be placed on solid, level surfaces. Weight must be evenly distributed, and overstacking should be avoided. Routine checks eliminate invisible risks, because a well-organized warehouse doesn't just improve efficiency, it protects lives. While vehicles were traveling normally on a highway, a dash cam recorded the moment large rocks suddenly broke loose from a mountainside and fell onto the road. Several vehicles were struck, and traffic came to a temporary halt. This incident is a reminder of how sensitive mountain roads can be to natural conditions. Heavy rainfall, erosion, or seismic activity can trigger rockfalls. Drivers should be extra cautious on roads marked with landslide or falling rocks warnings and avoid unnecessary stops, especially in bad weather. At a high-rise construction site, a tower crane was lifting a large exterior panel. However, a small industrial machine had been left unsecured on top of the panel. As the panel rose, the extra weight caused the load to become unbalanced. The panel suddenly tilted, and the machine fell, creating a serious hazard below. This incident shows the high risk of uncontrolled loading and improper lifting practices. Cranes should only be used to lift loads that are properly secured, stabilized, and have a controlled center of gravity. No platform carrying people, vehicles, or loose equipment should ever be lifted. In a crowded factory, a worker attempted to walk in front of a machine that was releasing a stack of wooden boards. The moment he stepped into the path, the machine suddenly pushed the boards forward. The stack shot ahead, and the worker became trapped. Fortunately, the operator reacted quickly, reversed the machine, pulled the boards back, and allowed the worker to escape. This incident shows why no one should ever pass in front of operating machines or moving loads. Employees should use designated walkways only and must never cross until the machine has come to a complete stop. In a workshop, a truck tire was placed on a stand for inspection. Everything seemed normal until a worker approached to check the tire. Suddenly, the internal pressure released violently, causing the tire to burst with great force. The worker was caught off guard by the sudden impact. This incident highlights the hidden dangers of large tires. Overinflation, internal defects, or improper mounting can lead to dangerous explosions. Therefore, inflation cages, pressure gauges, and protective barriers must always be used. Workers should never stand directly in front of or over a tire until it is fully secured and checked. Every safe inspection begins with a safe distance. In a warehouse, a worker walked toward the edge of the loading dock to talk to a colleague inside. At that moment, a large truck began reversing toward the dock. Because the worker was standing in the driver's blind spot, he wasn't seen, creating a serious risk of being crushed between the truck and the dock. This incident reminds us how dangerous the blind spots of heavy vehicles can be. Workers should stay clear of truck and equipment maneuvering areas, and drivers must use a spotter when reversing.